My friends, this time the blessing will be so big you will be left speechless. Not because you earned it, not because you fought for it, but because you finally allowed yourself to believe it was already yours. You see, the outer world is but a mirror of your inner acceptance. Life has always given back to you what you have dared to imagine. And now the magnitude of this blessing is not found in effort, but in surrender, in the quiet knowing that what you desire already exists within you. There are seasons when nothing seems to move, when silence surrounds you and you wonder if heaven has forgotten your name. But hear this truth. The silence is not denial, it is preparation. Before the greatest blessings appear, life often grows still, for the unseen is arranging itself to astonish you. This time will not be like the last. This time the blessing is beyond measure. It will arrive not in fragments, but in fullness, not in pieces, but in overflow. And when it comes, it will come so swiftly, so beautifully, that words will fail you. You will stand in awe of the greatness of what has unfolded. Do not chase, do not beg, do not worry. Simply rest in the assurance that it is already done. Your imagination, your faith, is the womb of creation. And as you hold the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the unseen bends itself to your vision. This blessing will not just meet your need, it will surpass every expectation. It will leave you speechless because it is bigger than anything you could have planned. This time, life will prove to you that what you carry within is far greater than what you see without. So prepare your heart. Live today as though it has already happened. Walk with the joy of one who has received. And soon, the visible will align with your invisible conviction. This blessing, this time, is too big to be ignored. And when it arrives, you will know it was always waiting for you. Imagination creates reality, and whether you are conscious of it or not, every event in your life is born first in the unseen chambers of your mind. Whatever you dare to accept inwardly with conviction, sooner or later must appear outwardly in your world. Most people live as if the physical world is the cause and they are merely reacting to what already exists. They look at circumstances, they judge by appearances, and then they allow those appearances to dictate what they believe is possible. Yet the truth is the exact opposite. The outer world is nothing more than a mirror, faithfully reflecting the state of your inner acceptance. If you wish to change the outer picture, you must first alter the inner vision. When you imagine something with feeling, you are planting a seed in the fertile soil of your consciousness. That seed may be invisible to the senses, but it is as real as any seed placed in the ground. Just as the earth knows how to bring forth a tree from a tiny kernel, so does life know how to bring forth your imagined state into visible form. The law does not fail. It cannot fail, for imagination is the creative power itself. But here lies the secret. It is not mere daydreaming or idle wishing that brings results, but the acceptance of the desire as already true. The moment you feel yourself in possession of what you long for, the invisible world begins its work. To accept something inwardly means to take it into your consciousness as though it were already accomplished. This is not a passive acceptance, but an active assumption. You deliberately clothe yourself in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You may not know how it will come or through whom it will arrive, but you rest in the conviction that it already belongs to you. This inner acceptance is the real act of creation. What follows in the physical world is only the unfolding of what has already been finished in imagination. Think of every achievement you have ever made, every experience you have lived. Before it became fact, it was first an image within your mind. A house you live in was once a thought in an architect's imagination. The job you hold, the relationships you have, even the clothes you wear. All of these were ideas before they became physical realities. Nothing enters your life by accident. Every detail is shaped by what you dare to imagine and accept as true. Many people sabotage themselves because they imagine negative outcomes more vividly than they imagine blessings. They worry. They replay scenes of fear. They live in states of doubt. And because imagination creates reality without judgment, life reflects back to them the very thing they dread. But you are free at any moment to shift the inner picture. Instead of entertaining lack, you can dare to imagine abundance. Instead of dwelling on rejection, you can inwardly accept love. Instead of fearing failure, you can clothe yourself in the feeling of success. The world outside bends to the inner conviction you carry. It may seem stubborn at first, as if nothing is changing, but persistence in imagination always bears fruit. What you dare to assume inwardly with faith and persistence must harden into fact. Reality has no choice but to echo the state of consciousness you inhabit. Imagination is not a fantasy. It is the very power shaping your destiny. What you accept inwardly today is the life you will walk into tomorrow. This blessing is different. It does not resemble the smaller victories or the quiet gifts you have received before. Those were but whispers of what was possible, small signs pointing toward the greater promise. But this time, the blessing carries a magnitude beyond your expectations. It is not a fragment, not a drop in the ocean, but a flood of goodness designed to remind you of the vastness of life's abundance. In the past, you may have celebrated progress in pieces. A door that opened here, a small opportunity there, a little relief after a long struggle. And though each of those blessings was real, they were only shadows of the greater light that was being prepared for you. What is coming now is fullness, not fragments. Often life trains us with little answers before delivering the great ones. It is as though the universe asks, will you trust me in the small things? Will you believe even when all you see is a faint glimmer? Those small blessings strengthen faith. They stretch your imagination. They teach you to receive. But once you have proven willing to believe in what you cannot yet see, once you have chosen to accept the invisible as greater than the visible, a shift takes place. You no longer settle for crumbs. You begin to expect the feast. And it is at that moment that the greater blessing, the one prepared for this very season, begins to take shape. This blessing is different because it will not simply meet a need, it will surpass it. It will not only bring comfort, but transformation. You may have asked for provision, but what is coming is overflow. You may have prayed for a door, but what is coming is a pathway you could not have imagined. This is the nature of the extraordinary. It does not answer in line with human calculation. It breaks beyond the boundaries of expectation. It comes in ways that remind you the source is greater than any channel, and that no limitation has the power to stop what is already destined for you. Past moments may have left you grateful, but still reaching for more. They brought light, yet you still search for fullness. But this time, the blessing will silence every doubt. It will be so undeniable that you will not question whether it is real. It will carry with it a weight, a magnitude that cannot be mistaken. The doors that open will not be fragile. The opportunities will not vanish. The joy will not be fleeting. What you are about to step into is built to last, overflowing in ways that transform not just your circumstances, but the very way you see yourself. There is a reason you have endured the waiting, the stillness, the seasons of uncertainty. Every moment was preparing you for this magnitude. If it had arrived too soon, you would not have been ready to carry it. But now, having walked through those smaller chapters, you have the strength to embrace the fullness. This blessing is different because it is not only for you, it is designed to overflow into every area of your life, touching others, proving the power of unseen faith, and leaving you in awe. What is coming will not just meet your expectations, it will rise above them. And when it does, you will be left speechless. Inner acceptance is the true beginning of every transformation. Nothing in your outer life can shift until you have first shifted within. The moment you accept a desire as already yours, the outer world has no choice but to bow to your inner conviction. Acceptance does not mean hoping or wishing. It is not saying one day, maybe this will come. It is claiming the unseen as if it were already accomplished. It is standing in the quiet confidence that what you seek is not on its way, it is already present, waiting for you to align with it. So many live their lives as though they are beggars, hoping the world will grant them permission to have what they want. They wait for a sign, for external proof, before they dare to believe. But the law of life is the opposite. The proof appears only after the acceptance. It is when you feel it within, when you clothe yourself in the state of having, that the physical world reshapes itself to reflect what you carry in consciousness. Inner acceptance is the invisible handshake with life. The moment you inwardly agree that it is yours, the universe rearranges itself to honor that decision. Circumstances begin to shift, people appear, opportunities unfold, but all of this is secondary. The true cause lies within your conviction. Without acceptance, even the greatest opportunities pass by unnoticed, because you cannot recognize what you have not already claimed in imagination. Think of a person who constantly says, I will one day be wealthy. Their words may sound hopeful, but inwardly they still see themselves as lacking. Their acceptance is not of wealth, but of delay, of waiting. Life mirrors that state, and they remain stuck in longing. Yet when someone quietly decides, I am already abundant, and feels it as true in the unseen, their world begins to reflect abundance in ways both small and great. Acceptance, not struggle, is the turning point. When you accept something inwardly, you stop chasing it. You no longer beg, plead, or force. You live as though it is done. This state of being releases the tension, and in that release, the creative power flows unhindered. The outer world must conform, for it has no choice but to reflect the reality you inhabit within. This is why the inner act is so important. You cannot deceive the law. You may speak words of faith, but if inwardly you deny them, the outer world hears only the denial. But once the inner acceptance is real, no obstacle can stand in the way. Even if appearances contradict your conviction, they are powerless, for the greater truth has already been planted within you. The moment of true acceptance is the moment creation is finished. From that point on, you need not struggle. Life will bow to your conviction, and what was unseen will be made visible. The secret is simple. Live now as though it is already done. Feel the joy, the peace, the gratitude of having received, and the outer world will echo your inner state with precision. The blessing becomes inevitable because the victory was won the moment you accepted it within. Silence before the breakthrough is one of life's greatest mysteries, and yet it is the most certain sign that something extraordinary is about to unfold. Often the quietest seasons precede the loudest miracles. When nothing seems to move, when doors appear closed, and when your prayers echo back in silence, it is not abandonment you are experiencing, but preparation. The unseen realm is at work, aligning people, circumstances, and opportunities that will one day burst forth so suddenly that you will forget the stillness that came before. Many mistake silence for denial, They believe that if nothing changes outwardly, then nothing is happening inwardly. But silence is not denial, it is gestation. Just as a seed lies buried in the ground, invisible to the eye, yet silently transforming into roots and stems, so too does your desire grow in the unseen before it bursts into visibility. You cannot rush the seed from the soil, nor can you force life to reveal the blessing before its time. The silence is sacred because it is proof that creation is unfolding beyond the reach of your senses. In these quiet seasons, the temptation is to give up, to doubt, to assume you have been forgotten. Yet the truth is the opposite. Silence is evidence of activity beyond your sight. When the surface looks still, the deepest work is being done. The unseen currents are stronger than the waves you notice. It is in the silence that your inner conviction is tested, and it is your persistence during this stillness that determines how quickly the breakthrough will manifest. The silence before the miracle is not empty, it is full of arrangements you cannot yet perceive, full of answers that are forming, full of connections that will one day make sense. To your senses, it feels like nothing. To your spirit, it is everything. The silence is where faith proves itself real. Anyone can believe when they see signs, but only those who believe in the silence taste the fullness of the promise. When a great symphony is about to reach its climax, there is often a pause, a breath, a moment of stillness before the sound explodes in power. That pause is not a mistake, it is intentional. It prepares the ear, it builds anticipation, and it makes the climax all the more breathtaking. So too in life. The silence is the pause before the music of your breakthrough fills the air. Without the pause, the miracle would not carry the same power. You may be in such a season now, where prayers feel unanswered, where nothing seems to shift. Do not despise the silence. Do not mistake it for defeat. Know instead that you are in the final stretch before the floodgates open. The silence is proof that something vast is aligning for you, greater than you could arrange by yourself. The quietest seasons carry the greatest promises. The silence is the womb of the miracle, and when the breakthrough comes, it will not trickle. It will roar. It will arrive so loudly, so undeniably, that you will understand why the silence lasted as long as it did. The miracle will speak for itself, and the stillness that preceded it will only amplify its glory. Faith in the unseen is the foundation of all creation. What you cannot yet touch with your senses is already forming in the unseen realm, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. Most people trust only what they can see, hear, or hold in their hands, and by doing so they limit themselves to the smallest fraction of life's abundance. Yet the true power lies not in what is already visible, but in what is taking shape beyond the reach of the senses. Faith is the bridge that connects the invisible to the visible, the imagined to the experienced, the promised to the fulfilled. When you understand this, you begin to walk differently. You are no longer swayed by appearances, no longer discouraged by what seems missing. You know that absence in the physical does not mean absence in truth. Just because your eyes cannot yet perceive it does not mean it is not real. Reality begins in the unseen, and the senses catch up later. Faith is choosing to live as though the unseen were more solid than the visible world, because in fact it is. Everything you see around you, the buildings, the technology, the art, the relationships, was once nothing more than an idea, a vision held within someone's unseen imagination. Originally, with imitation results are the perception, what will make you vision, lid. Faith is not blind, it is the clearest vision you can have. It looks beyond the temporary evidence of the senses and holds steady to the eternal truth of what is already forming. When you believe in the unseen, you are not pretending. You are aligning with the deeper reality that precedes manifestation. To others, it may look like madness. They may ask why you smile when nothing has changed, why you celebrate when the blessing has not yet appeared. But you know that celebration itself is proof of faith. By feeling now what others wait to feel later, you are collapsing the distance between the unseen and the seen. The unseen realm is a storehouse of abundance, overflowing with every possibility you can imagine. It is not far away, it is closer than your breath. The moment you desire something and believe it, it begins to take form in that realm. You may not know the steps or the timing, but the process is already alive. Faith is the willingness to stand in that invisible certainty, to rest in the conviction that the unseen is more reliable than appearances. Think of the farmer who plants a seed. He does not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. He knows, though his eyes see only soil, that life is at work beneath the surface. His faith in the unseen allows him to water, to nurture, and to wait with confidence. In the same way, your desires, once accepted inwardly, are seeds planted in the unseen. Faith is the water, persistence is the sunlight, and time itself will reveal what was already complete from the beginning. To live by faith is to walk with quiet assurance, unshaken by delay, undisturbed by silence. It is to know that what you cannot yet touch is already yours, already forming, already on its way into visibility. The unseen is more real than the seen, and when you honor it with faith, life must deliver what you have dared to believe. Overflow beyond measure is the nature of the blessing that is being prepared for you. This is not a blessing that arrives just in time, barely covering what you asked for, barely filling the gap. No, this blessing will not only meet your need, it will surpass it, and in doing so, it will leave you in awe. You may have thought you were asking for something great, but what is on its way is larger than your prayer, greater than your imagination, richer than your expectation. Life does not delight in scarcity, it delights in abundance. When the blessing arrives, it will do more than satisfy, it will overflow. So often we think in terms of just enough to pay the bill, just enough to mend the relationship, just enough to feel a little peace. But the unseen power that answers is not a power of limitation. It does not give crumbs. It spreads a feast. The overflow comes as a reminder that you are not meant to live in survival, but in abundance, not in fragments, but in fullness. When this blessing comes, it will sweep you off your feet because it will carry a magnitude that says, you were never forgotten, you were never abandoned, and you were always worthy of more than you dared to ask. Overflow has a purpose. It is not only for you, but through you. When you are given more than enough, the extra is designed to bless those around you, to inspire them, to awaken them to what is possible. You may have asked for provision, but what is coming will place you in a position to provide for others. You may have asked for a door to open, but what is coming will create a pathway for many to follow. This is how abundance works. It multiplies. It pours out until it spills over, and in that spilling, it touches everyone connected to you. Think of water filling a cup. Once it reaches the top, it does not stop flowing. It spills over the edges, running across the table, dripping to the floor. That is how this blessing will move in your life. It will not halt at the point of sufficiency. It will continue until you are drenched in gratitude, until you are left without words, staring in wonder at the scale of it. This is what it means to receive beyond measure. And when it arrives, you will know why the wait was so long, why the silence was so deep, why the smaller blessings felt incomplete. They were all preparation for this one. The overflow requires a vessel strong enough to hold it. And you have been strengthened through your journey. Now you are ready not just to receive, but to sustain it. What is coming is not a blessing that will fade. It is one that will anchor itself in your life and expand outward, shaping your future in ways you cannot yet see. When it comes, it will silence doubt, heal wounds, and lift you into a realm of gratitude so profound that words will fail you. It will be more than you asked, more than you dreamed, and it will leave you in awe. This is overflow beyond measure. And so you see, every blessing has been leading you here to this very moment of awakening. What is coming will not resemble the past. It will not trickle in small pieces, but arrive in fullness, overflowing beyond measure. The silence you endured was never abandonment, but preparation. The unseen you believed in is now ready to be revealed. And when it does, it will be so vast, so undeniable, that you will be left speechless. Walk today as if it has already happened. Feel the joy of fulfillment. Rest in the peace of completion, and know with certainty that life cannot withhold what you have already accepted within. This time the blessing is bigger, greater, richer, and it will leave you in awe. Thank you for listening, and may you carry this truth with you always. What you dare to accept inwardly must one day appear outwardly. Your blessing is already here. There are moments in life when we kneel to ask, when we whisper prayers in silence, and when we shape our desires with words. Yet the greatest miracles do not always come from what is spoken. They are born from what is silently held in the deepest chambers of the heart. There is a sacred law at work. Life gives not only what you ask for, but what you are. Long before you find the words to pray, the universe has already felt your longing. Long before you reach out in hope, the invisible hand of the divine is already arranging the answer. You may think you are waiting for a miracle, but the miracle has been waiting for you. It comes not because you begged for it, but because it is already yours by right of being. The hidden self, the one beyond your conscious thoughts, has prayed 1,000 prayers you never spoke, and heaven heard them all. Do not be surprised when doors swing open where you saw only walls. Do not be startled when opportunities arrive you never imagined. For what you carry in silence calls forth what words cannot. The heart is a magnet, and the soul is a prayer that never stops speaking. And so the miracle you never prayed for will arrive before you expect. It will not knock politely. It will flood your life with timing so perfect that you will know it was always meant for you. You will not need to chase it, for it will find you. You will not need to question it, for its peace will answer everything. The universe is not bound by your schedule. It is moved by the certainty of your inner state. The unseen power brings forth blessings faster than time, greater than thought, and deeper than any prayer you could ever form. So live in trust, live in the assurance that what you did not know how to ask for is already on its way. The miracle is not coming. It has already begun. Life answers not just prayers, but the silent desires of the heart. What we speak in words is often a small fragment of what we truly long for, because language cannot capture the depth of the soul's yearning. Sometimes we do not even know what to ask for. We believe our prayers must be carefully constructed, spoken in detail, repeated with discipline. Yet beneath all words lies the true vibration of the heart. And it is that unspoken frequency that life responds to. And that life responds to. The heart holds longings too subtle to name, feelings too deep to confess, and dreams too vast for language. These are not always expressed in prayer, yet they are constantly radiating, constantly shaping the unseen. A man may pray for security, yet secretly, without words, his heart longs for freedom. A woman may ask for healing, but silently her soul is crying for peace. It is not the words that move the universe. It is the hidden essence, the unspoken desire carried within. This is why so often we are astonished when blessings arrive that we never specifically prayed for. They come as though out of nowhere, yet in truth they are answers to the silent cry we did not have the courage or awareness to speak. Life does not wait for permission slips written in the form of prayers. Life listens directly to the heart. Every heartbeat is itself a prayer, every longing a signal, every silent ache a call to the divine. Consider the times you have been surprised by joy, an unexpected meeting, a door opening, a solution appearing when you had given up asking. These are reminders that life is always listening at a level deeper than words. Your conscious mind may forget, but your inner being never stops speaking to the great source. The very act of living is a constant communication. Even in silence, you are heard. We often underestimate the power of our inner states. We imagine that only what we say with discipline or what we write in prayer journals is acknowledged by the universe. Yet the truth is, what we dwell upon in thought, what we nourish in imagination, and what we allow to grow in feeling carries more weight than any repeated phrase. The divine does not respond to words, it responds to states of being. And the heart, whether aware or not, continuously reveals your state. This is why some prayers are answered without being spoken, and why some spoken prayers go unanswered. Words without feeling are empty. Feeling without words, however, has the power to move mountains. When your heart aches with longing, when your soul burns with desire, when your inner self breathes out its silent cry, life listens. So let your heart be honest. Let it feel without fear. Do not worry if you cannot form the perfect prayer or find the right words. The unspoken desire is already known, already understood, already answered. Life hears what your lips do not say. And in the perfect time, in ways you could never have orchestrated, it will bring forth not only what you asked for, but what you truly carry deep within. The language of the heart is beyond sound, yet it is never ignored. Life answers not just prayers, but the silent desires of the heart. The unseen hand of the divine works beyond our asking. There is a hidden intelligence weaving through every detail of life, an intelligence that does not wait for us to instruct it step by step, but moves with wisdom far greater than our conscious understanding. We imagine that only what we request through prayer, meditation, or thought can reach the divine. Yet long before our words are spoken, the answer is already in motion. There is a force that knows the shape of our lives better than we do, a presence that sees the full pattern while we only glimpse fragments. Many times we stand at the edge of uncertainty, believing we are alone, struggling to find the right words to plead for help. And yet, unseen currents are already shifting, aligning events, preparing paths. What we perceive as delay or silence is often the precise unfolding of something greater, something that could not be grasped if it came too soon or too easily. The divine hand does not work under our limited timing. It works according to the rhythm of perfection. Consider the countless times blessings have arrived unannounced, without being specifically requested. An unexpected opportunity, a chance meeting, a sudden solution to a problem you had carried for months. These are not accidents. They are the fingerprints of the unseen hand, arranging circumstances beyond what you could have imagined. You may not have asked for that exact gift, but it came because the divine knew what you truly needed before you realized it yourself. This is why faith is not about controlling outcomes with words, but about trusting that there is a greater wisdom always at work. To live with trust is to know that you are guided even when you cannot see the guide. The invisible hand is never idle. While you sleep, it works. While you doubt, it works. While you wait, it is already arranging the threads of your destiny. Sometimes what feels like a loss is in fact a redirection. What looks like rejection may be protection. The unseen hand removes certain doors not to harm you, but to shield you from what you cannot yet perceive. And then, in the most unexpected hour, another door opens, one that reveals why the other remained closed. In hindsight, you see the precision. In the moment, all you need is trust. The divine is not bound by your requests. It is bound only by its nature, which is goodness, love, and abundance. You may ask for a drop, yet it prepares an ocean. You may pray for survival, yet it has planned your thriving. You may think you are waiting for an answer, yet the answer was planted in the soil of your life long before you even knew the question. The unseen hand of the divine is always working beyond your asking. Even your silence is heard, even your confusion is understood. You are never left to struggle alone. There is a presence greater than sight, wiser than thought, and kinder than words, shaping your life with precision. Trust in that unseen hand, for it never fails. What you truly are within attracts what you never thought to request. Life responds not merely to what you say, but to the essence you carry in the secret place of your being. The hidden self, the one beneath appearances and words, is like a magnet constantly pulling experiences, people, and opportunities that reflect its nature. You may believe you are consciously asking for one thing, yet the energy you hold within summons something entirely different. Sometimes greater, sometimes unexpected, but always in harmony with who you are at the deepest level. We often pray or wish from the surface of the mind. We ask for wealth, love, peace, or success with carefully chosen words. Yet beneath those words lies the truer prayer, the unspoken identity you accept about yourself. If within you see yourself as unworthy, the world mirrors back lack, no matter how many prayers you repeat. But if within you carry a quiet certainty of worth, life responds with opportunities, blessings, and abundance, even those you never thought to request. The law of attraction is not about repetition of words, but about embodiment of states. The inner state is the real seed, and every seed produces after its kind. A heart that carries joy will find joy arriving in ways it never asked for. A soul that embodies love will attract encounters more beautiful than any prayer it could form. A mind that rests in peace will discover doors opening effortlessly, not because it calculated them, but because it became a living invitation for peace-filled outcomes. Think of times when something extraordinary arrived in your life that you never directly prayed for. Perhaps a person appeared at just the right moment, offering guidance or support you did not know you needed. Perhaps an opportunity came that was far greater than the request you thought to make. These moments are not coincidences. They are reflections of the truth you carried inside, calling forth experiences beyond the scope of your conscious asking. The self is always radiating. Who you believe yourself to be is continuously shaping the life around you. This is why transformation does not begin with begging for external changes, but with becoming inwardly what you desire outwardly. To be love is to attract love. To be abundance is to invite abundance. To be peace is to draw peace. And in that state, blessings arrive unsought. Miracles unfold unplanned, and the universe delivers gifts that surpass imagination. You do not need to know the details of what to request. Life knows. Your task is not to instruct the divine on how to bless you, but to embody within yourself the truth of who you already are. When you align your inner state with love, joy, and worth, you become a magnet for all things that correspond with it. Many of those things will surprise you because they are answers to the unspoken identity you held, not just the surface desires you voiced. What you truly are within attracts what you never thought to request. Therefore, guard the inner self with reverence, nurture it with truth. Live as though you already are what you long to be, and the world will rise to meet you with blessings you never dreamed of asking for. Grace moves faster than expectation, bringing blessings uncalled for. There is a current in life that does not wait for your schedule, your effort, or even your readiness. It flows with a speed beyond reason, cutting through delays, dissolving obstacles, and unfolding blessings long before you think they should arrive. Grace is not bound by time. It is not measured by the clock, nor limited by the slow logic of human planning. It appears suddenly like light breaking through clouds. And when it does, you know without doubt that it could not have come from your own striving. Expectation is a limited frame shaped by what you believe is possible, by what your mind can calculate. You think in terms of process, steps, and gradual results. You believe that growth, healing, or success must take months or years. Yet grace knows no such restrictions. It can bring in a moment what years of effort could not produce. It can restore what seemed lost forever. It can elevate you to places you never thought to reach. Grace is not concerned with probability. It is the hand of the divine, giving freely, without condition, and often without request. This is why the most life-changing moments often arrive unannounced. You are busy waiting, calculating, and expecting, and suddenly grace rushes in, exceeding every timeline you set. A debt cleared, a sickness healed, a relationship mended, a door opened. These are not always the results of your asking. They are gifts given, because the source of life is generous beyond measure. Grace answers not just prayer spoken, but the deep hunger of the soul. Even when unexpressed, when grace moves, it bypasses the rules you thought were fixed. What should have taken 10 years can happen in one season. What looked like a dead end can transform overnight into a path of abundance. Grace does not consult the logic of your circumstances. It consults only the truth of divine love. And love is never slow. Love moves at the speed of miracles. This is why gratitude is the posture of those who understand grace. Gratitude does not wait until blessings appear. It lives as though blessings are already on their way, because they always are. The more you dwell in gratitude, the more aware you become of how swiftly grace is moving. Gratitude prepares you to recognize blessings when they arrive unexpectedly, so you do not dismiss them as luck or coincidence. Grace is never late, never limited, and never earned. It is the free flow of goodness that cannot be calculated or confined. You may expect your blessing tomorrow, but grace can bring it today. You may think you must struggle endlessly, but grace can end the struggle in a moment. You may imagine that certain dreams are too big, but grace delights in surpassing human limits. Grace moves faster than expectation, bringing blessings uncalled for. It is already at work in your life, arranging surprises, preparing doors, and rushing toward you with gifts far beyond what you thought to ask. All you must do is remain open, trusting, and ready to receive what only grace can deliver. The miracle is already prepared before you know you need it. Life, in its infinite wisdom, always runs ahead of your awareness. While you are busy worrying about tomorrow, tomorrow has already been provided for. Long before you sense the problem, the solution is waiting. Before the sickness appears, the healing is set in motion. Before the need rises, the supply is already stored in unseen places. Nothing surprises the divine, for it knows your path before you take your first step. The miracle you think you must beg for has already been placed along your journey, waiting for the moment it will be revealed. We live as though we must earn every blessing, as though we must persuade the heavens with constant prayers. Yet the truth is deeper. Provision is always ahead of need. Just as a river is already flowing before you arrive to drink, so too are your blessings flowing before you recognize your thirst. This is why sudden help appears in moments of despair. This is why opportunities emerge just when you thought there was no way. The miracle was already woven into the fabric of your life before you became aware of the gap. Think of the times when you faced what seemed like an impossible challenge. You may have felt cornered, abandoned, or lost, only to find that an answer appeared at exactly the right time. A person stepped in, a door opened, a resource arrived. None of these were coincidences. They were reminders that the provision was already in place. What felt to you like last-minute rescue was in fact the perfect timing of a miracle long prepared. The divine is never reactive, it is always proactive. It does not scramble to meet your needs as they arise. It has already filled the path with hidden treasures. You are like a traveler walking through a forest, and as you take each step, fruit appears on the trees, water flows from unseen springs, and light filters through the leaves. You did not have to create these, they were there all along, awaiting your arrival. This is why worry is unnecessary, though we often cling to it. Worry imagines a future without provision. Faith rests in the knowing that a miracle is already there, simply awaiting its unveiling. When you release fear, you align yourself with the flow of life and make room to receive what is already prepared. Even delays and detours hold purpose. Sometimes you are redirected, not to punish you, but to guide you closer to the place where your miracle is waiting. The very things you call setbacks are often preparations. They slow you down only so you arrive at the right time to meet what has been waiting for you all along. So trust the unseen order of life. Stop fearing tomorrow, for tomorrow has already been blessed. The answers you will one day celebrate are already here, though your eyes may not yet see them. The miracle is already prepared before you know you need it. And when the moment comes, it will unfold with such precision that you will understand it was never late, never uncertain, never absent. It was always there, waiting for you to arrive. The greatest gifts are those that arrive unannounced, yet perfectly timed. They come without warning, without effort, and without expectation, yet they enter our lives with such precision that we realize they could not have been accidents. These gifts slip past the borders of planning and calculation, arriving in moments when we least expect them but most need them. They are reminders that life is not governed solely by what we strive for, but by a higher order that sees beyond our limited view. So often we measure life by what we can predict, what we can plan, and what we can request. We make lists of goals, set timelines, and pray for specific outcomes. Yet the most beautiful blessings are rarely the ones we foresaw. They are the surprises, the conversation that changes your perspective, the opportunity that appears out of nowhere, the healing that comes in an instant, the love that finds you when you stop searching. These gifts carry the signature of the divine because they bypass our expectations and arrive in a way that makes us pause in wonder. The timing of these gifts is never random. They appear exactly when they are needed, though not always when we think we are ready. At times they come to rescue us from despair. At other times they come to expand us beyond what we believed possible. The perfection of their timing is the evidence that life knows our true needs far better than we do. What we might have prayed for prematurely or too narrowly is replaced by something greater, arriving in the fullness of time. Think of moments in your past when something wonderful happened unexpectedly. Perhaps you met a person who became a lifelong friend or partner. Perhaps an idea sparked at the right instant and opened a path you never imagined. Perhaps a closed door forced you into an unknown direction, only for you to discover it was the path that held your blessing. In those moments, you realized that the best things in life cannot be forced. They arrive on their own, guided by a wisdom greater than your own plans. This is why trust is essential. To live in trust is to know that unseen hands are working, preparing, and aligning everything for your good. You may not know the details, but you can rest in the assurance that what you truly need is already set in motion. And when it arrives, it will not need explanation. Its timing will speak for itself. You will look back and understand why certain delays, rejections, or detours occurred, because they positioned you to receive the gift at the only time it could have made sense. The greatest gifts do not always come with loud announcements. They often slip in quietly, yet their impact is everlasting. They transform your path, your heart, and your vision of what is possible. And though you did not see them coming, you will recognize their perfection the moment they appear. The greatest gifts are those that arrive unannounced yet perfectly timed. They remind us that we are guided, loved, and provided for in ways beyond our comprehension. They are the divine's way of saying, you are never forgotten, and you will always receive what you need, exactly when you need it. Life is not a puzzle you must solve on your own. It is a living current always flowing toward your highest good. The silent desires of your heart are heard. The unseen hand of the divine is at work, and who you are within is already shaping blessings you never thought to request. Grace moves faster than your expectations. The miracle is prepared long before you know you need it, and the greatest gifts will always arrive unannounced, yet perfectly timed. So walk forward with trust. Do not fear delays, do not doubt the silence, and do not underestimate the power of what is already unfolding. Your life is being guided with precision, and the proof will be in the miracles that arrive when you least expect them. The journey is not one of striving, it is one of receiving, of recognizing and of giving thanks for the abundance that continually seeks you. Thank you for allowing me to share these words with you today. May you leave here with renewed faith, deeper peace, and the certainty that the miracle you never prayed for is already on its way. There are moments in life when words fail, not because there is nothing to say, but because what you are beholding is too great for language to capture. The blessing that is on its way to you will not be small nor ordinary. It will be so big, so magnificent, that when it arrives, you will have to sit down and cry. Tears will run down your face, not from pain, but from overwhelming joy. Because what you once carried only in your heart will now stand before you in undeniable reality. The promise was never uncertain. The vision was never in vain. Every prayer whispered in silence, every night you wrestled with faith, every moment you chose to believe though nothing was seen, all of it was the preparation for this very moment. You see, what is coming was already done in the invisible. You were never waiting for it to be created. You were only waiting for it to unfold into time. And when it finally does, you will realize why you had to wait. You will realize why the delays, the detours, and the disappointments were necessary. They were not denials, but alignments. They were clearing the way for something so vast you could not have carried it before. It will be so big that your heart will break open with gratitude, You will find yourself sitting down, unable to speak, overwhelmed at the faithfulness of the unseen power that governs your life. Others will look at you and wonder how it happened, but you will know it was grace. It was faith. It was the invisible hand of God turning the unseen into the seen. And when it comes, it will not just change your life. It will overflow into the lives of others. The magnitude of your blessing will become a testimony. The abundance will spill over. The joy will multiply. It will remind you that the Creator never does small things, never answers prayers halfway, never leaves a vision unfinished. It's almost the height of uncertainty. So prepare yourself, not in fear, not in doubt, but in expectation, because when it comes, it will leave you undone. You will sit down, you will weep, and in those tears you will find the deepest truth. You were always meant for something this big. The blessings of God are always greater than the imagination of man. We try to picture what we desire, we try to form it in the mind, but no matter how high the thought may reach, no matter how detailed the vision, what God prepares always exceeds it. The human mind often sets limits. It shapes blessings according to what it thinks is possible, reasonable, or attainable. Yet the divine has no such boundaries. What you imagine is the highest, God takes further. What you believe is the maximum, He calls the beginning. Think of how often life has surprised you. There were moments you asked for something small, and yet what unfolded was larger, brighter, richer than you ever thought possible. That is because divine favor is not confined by your request. When you desire a door to open, God is already preparing a house. When you hope for a single opportunity, He is crafting a future full of them. The blessing that comes is not only for the moment, but for generations, for connections, for lives you have not even met yet. We must understand that our imagination, though powerful, is still touched by fear, still shaped by our past, still colored by what we think we deserve. Many times we imagine just enough to get by or just enough to relieve the burden, but God does not operate in just enough. His nature is abundance, His language is overflow. That is why the blessing always shocks you, always humbles you, always leaves you in tears of gratitude. It will come in such a way that you will realize your request was only a seed, but His answer was a harvest. Consider the times when you thought you had reached the end, when you could not see a way out. In those very moments when you least expected it, something shifted. Help came, a door appeared, a provision arrived. Not by your calculations, not by your effort, but by divine arrangement. And when it happened, it was not small, it was greater, richer, fuller than the solution you thought you needed. That is the nature of God's blessing. It reaches beyond your mind, beyond your reasoning, beyond your plans. This is why faith is so essential. Faith is not only believing that something will come, but trusting that it will be greater than you can even imagine. When you hold this trust, you do not limit yourself to the edges of your own thoughts. You allow the unseen to surprise you, to deliver blessings that your imagination could not stretch far enough to hold. You begin to understand that your role is to expect, to prepare, and to remain open, because the blessing will come from directions you never considered. The greatest testimonies are always born from this truth. People say, I prayed for one thing, and what I received was beyond my wildest dreams. That is not coincidence, that is divine nature. For the hand of God is never stingy, never narrow, never bound by the small frame of human imagination. It overflows, it multiplies, it enlarges, until the very heart breaks open with awe. So let your trust rest in this. Whatever you are imagining now, no matter how beautiful or high, is only a shadow of what is truly being prepared for you. The blessing will not match your imagination. It will exceed it. And when it arrives, you will know why the delays, why the waiting, why the silence. It was all because what was being prepared was far greater than what you asked for. What is coming will overflow your capacity to contain it. It will touch not only you, but everyone connected to you. The blessing that is on its way is not meant to be confined to your hands alone. It is bigger than your need, larger than your request, and far greater than what you imagined. It carries with it a ripple effect, a power that will extend beyond your personal life into the lives of those around you. What is prepared for you has been designed in such a way that it cannot remain private. It will spill over, it will multiply, and it will lift not only you, but those who walk near you. So often we pray with ourselves in mind. We ask for a breakthrough, a healing, a provision, believing it will resolve the weight we carry. But God is not simply answering for your sake. He is crafting a blessing so abundant that it becomes a testimony to all who see it. The miracle will not be contained within your walls. It will stretch outward, breaking limits and touching lives you never even thought of when you first asked. The blessing is not meant to be hoarded. It is meant to be shared, to be a light in the darkness for others. Think of a river overflowing its banks. When the rains fall, the river does not politely stay within its old boundaries. It rises, it swells, and the water moves outward into the land, nourishing soil that had been dry and forgotten. So it is with the blessing of God. It will not stop at satisfying your hunger. It will feed others. It will not stop at paying your debt. It will provide opportunities for others to be free. It will not stop at healing your body. It will inspire faith in those who see your transformation. That is the nature of divine overflow. This is why the blessing requires patience. It takes time to prepare something so big that it cannot fit in the vessel you thought you were. You must be stretched, refined, and prepared so that when it comes, you do not collapse under its weight. What is being shaped for you will not only satisfy your heart, it will create a path for others. People will say, because of what happened in their life, I now believe again. I now see what is possible. That is the true reach of the blessing. It becomes contagious, spreading from life to life. And when it comes, you will know it is bigger than you because you will be unable to contain the gratitude. You will want to share it, to testify, to let others feel even a drop of the abundance that has been poured into your cup. That cup will not simply be filled, it will overflow. And as it overflows, it will touch your family, your friends, your community, and even strangers who cross your path. The blessing will be evidence that when God moves, He does not move in small portions, but in waves of abundance. So prepare yourself not only to receive, but to give. Prepare not only to rejoice privately, but to shine publicly. For what is on its way will not allow you to remain silent. It will overflow your life, and in that overflow, others will find hope, strength, and faith. The blessing is not only about you, it is about everyone connected to you, and its reach will be greater than you could ever imagine. When the unseen becomes seen, the magnitude of it will move you to tears. For so long you carried it in silence. You held the image in your heart, the vision in your mind, the prayer in your spirit. It lived in the invisible realm where no one else could see it, where others may have doubted, where you yourself wrestled with moments of uncertainty. Yet deep down you knew it was real, though no evidence appeared before your eyes. And then one day, without warning, the invisible breaks through into the visible, and what you once imagined now stands before you in undeniable reality. In that moment, you will not be able to hold back the tears, For it is not just the fulfillment you will feel, it is the memory of every step that brought you there. The nights when you thought you had been forgotten, the days when you carried on with no proof but only faith, the whispers of doubt you fought against, all of it will come rushing back. But this time, it will not weigh you down. It will lift you up in gratitude. The magnitude of what you see will confirm that the waiting was never wasted. There is a beauty in this unfolding. While it was unseen, it required you to believe. It required you to trust in something greater than logic, greater than circumstance, greater than the opinions of others. That unseen vision shaped you, refined you, and made you ready. And when it manifests, the tears you cry will not be just for the blessing itself, but for the journey that made you strong enough to carry it. The unseen was preparing you all along. Imagine the farmer planting seeds. For a time, the soil looks empty, nothing appears, and if you judge by the surface, you would think nothing was happening. But underneath, in the unseen, life is stirring, roots are forming, growth is pushing upward. And when the green shoots finally break through the soil into the visible, it is a moment of awe, not because life suddenly appeared, but because what was hidden has finally revealed itself. So it will be with your blessing. What you thought was silence was actually growth. What you thought was delay was preparation. And when it rises before your eyes, the tears will fall, because you will see that it was there all along, only waiting for its appointed time. The magnitude will move you, because it will be greater than your imagination could have stretched. You may have thought it would come in a small way, but it will arrive with such force and beauty that it will humble you. You may have expected just enough, but it will arrive in overflow. You may have thought it would be ordinary, but it will stand as undeniable proof of divine orchestration. And those tears will not be of sorrow, but of awe. They will be tears of release, of thanksgiving, of reverence for the unseen hand that never failed you. Others will see the blessing and marvel, but you will see deeper. You will know what it cost, what it took, and how faithful the unseen was to become the seen. And in that moment, you will realize that every step, every waiting season, every prayer was worth it, because the invisible promise has finally touched the visible world, and its glory is more than words can hold. The wait was never in vain. Every delay was preparation for the greatness about to be revealed. How often in life do we mistake delay for denial? We look at the passing of time, the unanswered prayers, the doors that refuse to open, and we assume we have been forgotten. We grow weary, thinking the silence means nothing is happening. Yet what we fail to see is that delay is never wasted time. It is divine preparation. Every moment you thought was empty was actually shaping you, stretching you, and positioning you for something far greater than what you were asking for. Greatness is never built overnight. A seed planted in the soil does not bloom the next morning. It takes time, hidden in the dark, unseen to the eye, while roots spread and strength is formed. If the seed sprouted too soon, it would not survive the wind, the rain, or the sun. In the same way, your waiting season has been protecting you. The blessing you asked for was always real, but you needed to be ready to carry it. Delay is not punishment, it is preparation. Think back on a moment you wanted something to happen instantly. If it had arrived when you first asked, would you have been able to hold it? Would you have had the wisdom, the maturity, the stability to sustain it? Many blessings come not to excite us for a moment, but to last a lifetime. And for something to last, it must be built on strong foundations. That is what the waiting has been about. Each delay has been quietly adding strength to your character, patience to your spirit, and clarity to your vision. Sometimes doors remain closed because what waits behind them is too heavy for you to lift right now. Sometimes the people you thought you needed walk away because they cannot go where you are headed. Sometimes opportunities pass you by because a better one that aligns with your true calling, is being set in motion. In the moment, these feel like losses, but when the greatness finally arrives, you will look back and see that every delay was not loss, but protection, not silence, but orchestration. The human heart often wants things quickly, but the divine works in fullness. Fullness requires timing. Fullness requires alignment. Fullness requires that every piece fall into place so that when it comes together, nothing is missing, nothing is broken, and nothing can steal it away. That is why you have waited. Because what is being prepared for you is not fragile or temporary. It is solid, abundant, and lasting. When the greatness is revealed, it will make sense of all the waiting. The nights you questioned, the days you wondered, the years you endured, suddenly they will be seen in a new light. You will understand that the delays were not empty pauses, but necessary seasons of becoming. They were shaping you so you could not only receive the blessing, but live in it fully. So hold steady. Do not despise the waiting, for it is holy ground. It is here that you are made ready, here that strength is born, here that the unseen hand of God works silently for your good. And when the greatness finally appears, you will not look back with regret. You will see clearly that the wait was never in vain. It was the most important part of the journey, the very soil in which your destiny was rooted. True manifestation comes suddenly, yet it was already finished in the invisible long before you saw it. What appears as a sudden breakthrough, an overnight miracle, or an unexpected blessing is never truly sudden. It has been prepared, shaped, and completed in the unseen realm long before it made its way into your visible experience. To your eyes it may look instant, but in truth it is only the final unveiling of what has been done all along. This is the mystery of faith. You wait, you believe, you hold the vision within, and for a time nothing seems to move. Days turn to weeks, weeks to months, and you see no evidence of change. Then, in what feels like a single moment, everything shifts. The door opens, the answer comes, the blessing arrives, and people around you say, "It happened so fast." But you will know the truth. It did not happen fast. It happened in perfect timing, and the visible was simply catching up to what the invisible had already completed. Look at nature itself. The tree you see in full bloom did not suddenly become a tree overnight. Long before you saw its leaves and branches, the seed had split in the soil. Roots had been spreading deep in the darkness where no eye could see. Months and years of unseen growth were at work before the first sprout appeared. When the sprout broke through the ground, it seemed sudden, but it was the result of what had been complete within the seed all along. So it is with manifestation. The moment of appearance is only the last stage of a process already finished in the unseen. This is why faith must be unwavering. If you only believe in what you can see, you will faint in the waiting. But when you understand that the blessing is already complete in the invisible, you can rest, knowing it will show itself in time. You no longer ask, when will it happen? Instead, you affirm it is already done. You no longer doubt the silence, for you know silence does not mean absence. It means perfection is forming beyond your sight. When manifestation finally shows, it often carries a swiftness that takes your breath away. One phone call, one meeting, one opportunity, and suddenly everything aligns. Yet behind that sudden shift are countless unseen alignments. Hearts were being moved, doors were being prepared, circumstances were being shaped. What looked like delay was actually designed. The invisible was arranging itself so that when the visible appeared, it would be flawless. And the beauty of this truth is that it teaches you not to fear time. Time is not working against you, it is working for you. The longer something remains unseen, the deeper its roots are growing. The more silent the season feels, the more complete the blessing is becoming. So when it appears, it will not come half-formed or fragile, but whole, strong, and undeniable. So do not be discouraged by how long it takes. Do not assume the unseen is inactive. Every desire, every prayer, every vision is already finished in the invisible. You are not waiting for it to be created. You are only waiting to witness what is already yours. And when it comes, it will feel sudden, but you will know deep within that it was always there, always complete, simply waiting for the right moment to reveal itself in your life. Gratitude is the bridge. Tears will flow not from sorrow, but from overwhelming joy of promises fulfilled. Gratitude is the language of the soul that connects the unseen with the seen, the desire with its fulfillment, the prayer with its answer. When you live in gratitude, even before the blessing has arrived, you are already walking on the bridge that carries you from longing to possession. Gratitude does not wait for evidence. It speaks as though the promise is already complete. It rejoices before the door opens, and it celebrates before the manifestation takes form. The heart that practices gratitude lives in a constant state of readiness. It is not anxious. It is not restless. It is not doubting. Gratitude says, it is already mine. I thank you not because I see it, but because I know it is done. This posture of thanksgiving aligns you with the reality of the blessing and accelerates its arrival into the visible. It becomes impossible to remain in despair when your lips are filled with thanks, because gratitude pulls you out of fear and plants you in faith. And when the blessing finally arrives, when the unseen takes shape before your very eyes, gratitude bursts forth in a flood of tears. But these tears are not the same as those shed in sorrow, disappointment, or loss. These are tears of release, of awe, of recognition that the long wait was worth it. They flow because the heart cannot contain the magnitude of the goodness that has been revealed. The soul bends low in reverence, knowing that what stands before you is not small, not ordinary, but divinely orchestrated. Think of how gratitude shifts the atmosphere even in small things. A grateful heart finds joy in the simplest gifts. The sunrise, a kind word, a moment of peace. If such small acknowledgments can bring comfort and light, how much more overwhelming will the gratitude be when the greatest promises of your life are fulfilled? The tears will fall freely because your soul will know that you could never have arranged it by yourself. The promise was too big, too detailed, too perfectly timed. Gratitude will be the only response, and through those tears, you will feel the presence of God closer than ever before. Gratitude is the bridge because it carries you through seasons of silence. Without it, the weight feels heavy, the delays feel endless, and hope grows thin. But with gratitude, the silence becomes sacred, the delay becomes purposeful, and hope grows stronger. Gratitude transforms waiting into worship. It reminds you that the promise is sure, even if the timing is unknown, and the moment fulfillment arrives. Gratitude transforms worship into tears of joy, the kind of joy that humbles you and lifts you at the same time. These tears are holy. They are not weakness, but straight overflowing. They are the visible evidence of an inward recognition. I have seen the faithfulness of God. They wash away the pain of the waiting and replace it with reverence for the one who never fails. You will not cry from lack. You will cry from abundance. You will not cry from despair. You will cry from joy so overwhelming that it demands expression. So let gratitude be your daily bridge. Thank before you see, praise before it arrives, rejoice before the promise stands before you. And when the moment comes when the promise is fulfilled, you will walk across that bridge into a reality so glorious that it will bring you to your knees, tears streaming down your face, not because of sorrow, but because gratitude has finally found its completion in overwhelming joy. The journey of this speech has been a reminder that what is coming into your life will be greater than anything you have imagined. Every unseen seed planted in faith will bloom into visible form. Every delay you endured was not wasted. It was perfect preparation for the magnitude of the blessing about to be revealed. And when it arrives, it will be so overwhelming, so abundant, that you will not be able to contain it. It will spill into the lives of those around you, touching not only your story, but generations connected to you. The manifestation will not come as a small whisper, but as a wave of divine confirmation. You will see clearly that it was always finished in the invisible, waiting only for the right moment to appear before your eyes. And when it does, gratitude will flood your soul. You will sit down, overcome with tears, not of sorrow, but of joy beyond words. These tears will testify to the faithfulness of God, to the truth that His blessings always exceed human imagination, and to the certainty that your patience was never in vain. So carry this truth in your heart. What is unseen is already real. What is delayed is only being perfected. And what is promised is certain. Expect the moment when you will have no choice but to sit, weep, and give thanks, because the blessing will be so great, so undeniable, that it will change everything. There is a secret most people overlook, a truth so simple yet profoundly powerful. Your world moves according to your expectation. What you assume and persist in must take shape. Not tomorrow, not in some distant future, but today. You do not beg for what is already yours. You do not chase what is meant for you. Instead, you enter the state of receiving, effortless, relaxed, and sure. This is what I ask you to do 3 times a day, morning, midday, and night. Not as a struggle, not as a desperate plea, but as a deep, unwavering knowing. Expect it with certainty, not tomorrow, now. Expect it today. Relax in the knowledge that it is making its way to you in the most effortless way possible. Do this 3 times a day and watch what happens, not because you are making it happen, but because it has already happened. You are simply aligning yourself with it. Time is not real. It is only a construct of the mind. What you desire already exists in the unseen. The moment you shift into the state of having it, reality must rearrange itself to match you. So let go of waiting, let go of wondering how or when. Your only task is to relax and expect. 3 times a day, step into the version of yourself that has already received. What you assume to be true in your mind must be reflected in your world. This is not a theory nor a hopeful idea, it is law. Everything you see, everything you experience is simply a mirror reflecting back the assumptions you have persisted in over time. The world does not create for you, it simply projects what you have already accepted as real within yourself. Whether you are conscious of it or not, your assumptions shape the circumstances, people, and events in your life. The mind is a garden, and assumption is the seed. If you plant a seed with full expectation that it will grow, it must, for the soil does not discriminate. It does not argue, it simply receives and produces according to what has been planted. Likewise, the subconscious mind does not debate or resist. It accepts as true whatever you impress upon it with feeling. If you assume yourself to be healthy, successful, loved, and fulfilled, the world around you will shift to reflect that state of being. But if you assume difficulty, struggle, and lack, life will arrange itself to confirm those beliefs. The mistake most people make is assuming based on appearances. They look at their present conditions and accept them as the only truth. They react to what they see, and in doing so, reinforce it. But reality is not fixed. It is fluid, always taking shape according to the dominant impressions of the mind. If you assume that you are financially abundant, even when your bank account says otherwise, that assumption will take root and begin to materialize. The truth is, if you assume that you are loved, even when no one is currently expressing that love, your world must rearrange itself to bring that experience into your life. To assume is not to wish or to hope. Wishing implies lack, hoping suggests uncertainty. But assumption is different. It is the deep inner knowing that what you have claimed is already yours. It does not require proof. It does not seek validation. It simply accepts as fact that what is imagined will solidify into form. This is the key difference between those who manifest their desires with ease and those who struggle. Shop currently asked soldiers of India about gratitude, and they said they had many teachers who could not. The ones who succeed are not waiting for signs. They are living from the end, acting, thinking, and feeling as though their wish is already fulfilled. The power of assumption is absolute, but it requires unwavering persistence. A single assumption, held momentarily and then replaced by doubt, cannot produce results. It is the sustained belief, the repeated confirmation within, that brings about change. Every day you are reinforcing something within yourself, whether consciously or unconsciously. The question is, what are you reinforcing? Are you affirming a life of abundance, joy, and peace? Or are you affirming struggle, delay, and disappointment? Whatever you affirm consistently, you will see. To use this power effectively, you must assume and expect with certainty. You must carry yourself as if the reality you desire is already in motion, knowing that the world has no choice but to conform. The assumption precedes the evidence, not the other way around. If you wait for proof before believing, you will forever be trapped in a cycle of delay. Instead, take the bold step of accepting your desired reality as truth now. Assume it is done, not because you see it yet, but because you have declared it so. Your assumption is the cause and your world is the effect. It does not matter what anyone else believes. It does not matter what past experiences have told you. The only thing that matters is what you claim as true now. If you wish to change your life, change your assumption about it. See yourself as the person who already possesses all that you seek, and persist in that vision until the outer world catches up. It is law. It cannot fail. E primum nahito. The concept of time is one of the greatest illusions humanity has accepted as truth. We measure days, hours, and minutes, believing that events unfold in a linear sequence. But in reality, all that exists is this present moment. The past is nothing more than a memory, and the future is merely a projection of the mind. The only time that is real is now. Everything that has ever happened and everything that will ever happen exists within this eternal present. Most people live trapped by time, believing they must wait for their desires to unfold. They believe in processes, in steps, in gradual progress. They say, one day I will have what I want, or when the right conditions appear, I will be happy. But in doing so, they push their manifestations into an endless future that never arrives. By assuming that what they desire is always coming, but never here, they unknowingly keep it at a distance. For they do not realize that the key to instant manifestation lies in collapsing the illusion of time itself. To manifest effortlessly, one must understand that there is no waiting, no gap between desire and fulfillment. The only thing creating a delay is the belief in delay. The moment you assume that what you desire is already yours, you step outside of time and enter the realm of the absolute, where all things exist simultaneously. When you truly relax into the feeling of already having it, you remove the barriers that time imposes. You no longer wait for something to come. Instead, you claim it now, knowing that reality will rearrange itself to match your new assumption. Consider how effortlessly dreams unfold while you sleep. In a matter of moments, you can experience what seems like hours of events. You can meet people, travel to places, and witness things that in waking life would take years to occur. But within the dream, there is no sense of time as you know it, only the direct experience of what is imagined. This is a glimpse into how reality truly works. The external world appears slow and structured, only because we have conditioned ourselves to believe it must be so. But when you remove the mental chains of time, reality responds instantly. Many believe that certain things must take time. They think success must be built over years, that relationships must progress through stages, that healing requires long periods. But these beliefs are self-imposed limitations. What if you let go of the idea that things take time? What if you assume that what you desire is already complete, already existing, already yours? The moment you stop placing your desire in the future and claim it in the present, time ceases to be a factor. You collapse the delay, and what once seemed distant is drawn to you now. This is why relaxation is key. When you relax, you stop resisting. You stop measuring, waiting, and questioning. You simply know. You assume it is done, and in doing so, you align with the version of yourself that already has it. You step into the state of fulfillment, and reality has no choice but to reflect it. Manifestation is not about effort, it is about alignment. It is about shifting into the version of yourself that already possesses what you seek. Time is an illusion, and the only thing keeping your desire from appearing instantly is your belief that it must take time. Let go of that belief. Assume it is done now. Live as though it is already yours. When you master this, you will realize that nothing is ever truly out of reach, because everything exists now. The key to manifesting anything in life is not struggle, effort, or force. It is the ability to feel with absolute certainty that your desire is already fulfilled. It is not enough to wish, to hope, or to want. These states imply lack. What is required is the deep inner knowing that what you have imagined is already yours, that it exists now, even if the physical world has yet to reflect it. This is the true secret of creation, and those who master it hold the power to shape their reality at will. Most people believe they must work tirelessly to achieve their desires, that they must fight against the odds, struggle through obstacles, and prove their worthiness before receiving what they want. But this is a misunderstanding of how reality works. Everything you see in your world is simply a reflection of your internal state. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are, what you deeply assume to be true about yourself and your life. And the fastest way to change your external world is to change the way you feel within. To feel the wish fulfilled is to embody the state of already having. It is not about pretending or trying to convince yourself. It is about shifting into the version of yourself that already possesses the thing you seek. If wealth is your desire, you must feel wealthy now. If love is your desire, you must feel deeply loved now. If success is your desire, you must feel successful now. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, the external world has no choice but to conform to the inner world you consistently inhabit. This feeling of already having is what removes all barriers. When you feel as though you already possess your desire, there is no resistance, no doubt, no questioning. There is no desperation, no waiting, no wondering when or how it will come. You have already accepted it as fact, and when the mind accepts something as true, it naturally expresses that truth outwardly. Your actions, your words, your energy shift effortlessly, and soon the world must respond in kind. The mistake many make is allowing their senses to dictate their beliefs. They look at their current reality and say, "I don't have it yet, so I cannot feel it." But the outer world is nothing more than a delayed reflection of the inner world. If you continue to react to what is, you will continue to create more of the same. The true power lies in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled before any physical evidence appears. It is this assumption that brings it into being. Think of a time when you anticipated something wonderful, perhaps a long-awaited vacation, a reunion with someone you love, or a special event. Even before it happened, you felt the excitement, the joy, the certainty that it was on its way. That feeling colored your days, uplifted your spirit, and changed how you move through life. This is the exact state you must embody when manifesting. In this, you must feel the same certainty about your desire as you would about an event already scheduled on your calendar. The easiest way to do this is to enter a state of relaxation, quiet your mind, and imagine yourself already in possession of what you desire. Do not just see it, feel it. What emotions arise? What does it feel like to have it, to be it, to live it? Let that feeling take over you completely. Immerse yourself in the sensation of fulfillment and do not step out of it. Carry that state with you throughout your day, returning to it whenever doubt creeps in. This is the true work. Training yourself to dwell in the state of already having. Once you master this, manifestation becomes effortless. The world must yield to your assumption, because the external is always a servant to the internal. So let go of effort, struggle, and worry. Feel the wish fulfilled now and watch as your reality transforms before your eyes. The mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant within it, whether consciously or unconsciously, will take root and grow. Most people allow their minds to be filled with weeds, doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs, without realizing that they have the power to cultivate the reality they truly desire. The key to transformation is repetition. What you impress upon your subconscious mind over and over again becomes your truth. This is why doing this practice 3 times a day is so powerful. It is not about forcing change, but about gently reconditioning the mind to accept a new reality as normal, as inevitable. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It accepts whatever is repeatedly impressed upon it. This is why many people find themselves stuck in the same patterns, because they unconsciously reaffirm the same beliefs day after day. If you constantly think thoughts of lack, struggle, and limitation, you are planting seeds that will continue to bear fruit in your life. But if you deliberately and consistently assume the reality you wish to experience, you begin to overwrite the old programming and create a new mental blueprint. When you assume something to be true, even before physical evidence appears, you are engaging in the process of creation. But assumption alone is not enough. It must be reinforced. A single thought or feeling, no matter how powerful, may not be enough to shift deeply ingrained beliefs. The subconscious mind is shaped through repetition. Just as a muscle grows stronger through consistent training, the mind becomes attuned to new beliefs through continuous reinforcement. This is why practicing this assumption 3 times a day is essential: morning, midday, and night. Each session serves to reinforce the new state of being. In the morning as you wake, your mind is in a highly suggestible state. This is the perfect time to impress your assumption. Midday, when the distractions of the world begin to pull you back into old patterns, you remind yourself again of your chosen reality. And at night, before sleep, you impress your subconscious one final time, allowing it to work on your behalf as you rest. Each time you engage in this practice, do not merely think about your desire, feel it. Immerse yourself in the sensation of already having it. If wealth is your goal, feel the ease, security, and freedom of financial abundance. If love is your desire, feel the warmth, joy, and connection of already being deeply cherished. If success is what you seek, feel the confidence, fulfillment, and recognition of having already achieved. The feeling is what imprints the assumption into the subconscious. The stronger and more natural the feeling, the faster reality shifts to reflect it. Some may wonder, why 3 times a day? Why not once? The answer lies in the nature of the mind. We live in a world that constantly reinforces the illusion of external reality. From the moment you wake up, you are bombarded with stimuli that attempt to dictate what is possible for you. News, social media, conversations, all of these can subtly reaffirm old limitations if you are not vigilant. By returning to your assumption multiple times a day, you ensure that your mind does not drift back into old habits. You create a momentum that builds with each repetition, making it easier for your subconscious to accept the new belief as truth. This practice is not about forcing or obsessing, it is about saturating your mind with a new reality until it becomes second nature. The subconscious mind loves consistency. It responds to what is repeated with feeling. This is why affirmations, visualization, and inner conversations must be done persistently. A single drop of water does not shape a rock, but the steady, repeated flow over time creates transformation. The moment the new assumption feels natural, the outer world begins to shift. Suddenly opportunities arise, doors open, and synchronicities occur that confirm what you have assumed. This is not coincidence, it is the natural response of reality to the new state of being you have claimed. So, commit to this practice. 3 times a day, step into the feeling of already having your desire. Do not analyze, do not question, simply assume and feel. Let repetition rewire your mind, and soon, what once seemed distant will become your lived reality. Doubt is the only thing standing between you and your desire. It is not time, circumstances, or any external force that delays your manifestation. It is the resistance created by your own uncertainty. When you doubt, you send conflicting signals to your subconscious mind. One moment you affirm that your desire is already yours, and the next you question when or how it will come. This back and forth creates resistance, slowing down the process or even preventing it altogether. Letting go of doubt is not about convincing yourself with logic or forcing yourself to believe. It is about relaxing into the certainty that what you have assumed is already done. Imagine placing an order at a restaurant. You do not sit at the table anxiously wondering whether the food will arrive. You do not check with the waiter every 5 minutes, questioning whether the kitchen is really preparing your meal. You simply expect it, knowing that it is on its way. This is the attitude you must adopt with your desires. Absolute trust that what you have assumed will manifest at the perfect time. Doubt arises when you look at the external world for validation. If your desire has not yet appeared in physical form, you might feel tempted to question whether it is really coming. But this is the greatest mistake you can make. The outer world is merely a reflection of your past thoughts, emotions, and assumptions. If you continue to react to what is, you will only reinforce the same reality. The key is to persist in your inner knowing, regardless of what appears in the physical world. Relaxation is the antidote to doubt. When you relax, you allow. When you allow, you receive. Think of how effortlessly things flow into your life when you are in a state of ease and confidence. Have you ever noticed that the things you desperately chase after seem to run away from you, while the things you feel indifferent or at peace about tend to come easily? This is because desperation creates resistance, while relaxation creates a state of openness. When you stop resisting, you make space for your desire to flow naturally into your life. Letting go of doubt does not mean you suppress your thoughts or pretend that uncertainty does not exist. Instead, you acknowledge doubt and then choose not to engage with it. When a doubtful thought arises, simply recognize it and shift your focus back to the feeling of already having your desire. Do not fight it, simply redirect. This is the practice of mastering your mind, training it to dwell only on the reality you wish to experience. One of the most powerful ways to dissolve doubt is to embody the state of already having. If you had your desire right now, would you question whether it was coming? Would you worry about the details? No, you would simply enjoy it, confident in its presence. Adopt this mindset now. Walk through your day as though your wish is already fulfilled. Let this feeling of certainty. Another effective way to release resistance is to remind yourself that the universe is always working in your favor. Just as the sun rises each day without your effort, just as your heart beats without you controlling it, the process of manifestation unfolds naturally when you trust it. Your role is not to struggle or force, but to assume, feel, and allow. Faith is not something you have to create, it is something you return to. Deep within you, there is already a knowing that you are the creator of your reality, that your assumptions shape your world. Doubt is nothing more than a habit, a conditioned response based on past experiences. But you are no longer bound by the past. The moment you decide to let go of doubt, you free yourself from all limits. So relax, trust, feel your wish as already fulfilled. Do not chase, do not beg, do not question. Simply know. Let go of all resistance and watch as your desire unfolds effortlessly before you. When you live as if it is already done, you align yourself with the reality where your desire has manifested. You are no longer hoping, waiting, or wondering when it will come. You are embodying the version of yourself that already has it. This is the key to effortless manifestation. The universe responds to who you are being, not just what you are asking for. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions reflect the assumption that your desire is already yours, reality has no choice but to conform. Most people approach manifestation from a state of lack. They desire something but continue to think, feel, and act as though they do not have it. This contradiction creates resistance. If you constantly affirm that you want something, you are reinforcing the fact that you do not yet have it. But when you shift your state of being, when you start thinking, feeling, and behaving as if your desire is already a present reality, you step into alignment with it. Living as if it is done does not mean pretending or forcing yourself to believe. It means embodying the natural confidence of someone who already has what they desire. If you had your dream job right now, how would you feel? How would you carry yourself? What kind of thoughts would you think? How would you speak about your life? You would not be worrying about whether the job is coming. You would already be experiencing it. You would wake up with excitement, walk with certainty, and feel secure in your success. This is the state you must assume before the physical evidence appears. Emotion is the key to this transformation. The subconscious mind does not respond to empty words, it responds to feelings. When you deeply feel the joy, gratitude, and relief of already having your desire, you impress this reality onto your subconscious. And once the subconscious accepts something is true, the external world shifts to match it. Instead of waiting for your circumstances to change so that you can feel differently, change how you feel now and your circumstances will follow. So, your actions must also align with your assumption. This does not mean forcing yourself to take unnecessary steps or working harder to make something happen. It means naturally behaving in ways that reflect your new reality. A person who is wealthy does not constantly check their bank account in fear. A person who is deeply loved does not doubt whether they are wanted. A person who is successful does not question their own worth. Align your daily actions with the truth that your desire is already fulfilled. One of the simplest ways to live as if it is done is to shift your inner conversations. Throughout the day, observe the way you speak to yourself. Are you mentally reinforcing the old reality, or are you affirming the new one? The words you say to yourself shape your perception, and your perception shapes your world. Begin to speak as though you already have what you want. Replace thoughts of doubt with thoughts of certainty. Instead of thinking, I hope it happens, say to yourself, it is already mine. Another powerful practice is to immerse yourself in the feeling of your fulfilled desire before sleep. The state you enter before sleep is deeply impressionable to the subconscious mind. As you lie in bed, imagine yourself already living your desired reality. Feel it as vividly as possible. If your wish is to be in a loving relationship, feel the warmth, connection, and presence of your partner beside you. If your desire is financial abundance, feel the security and freedom that wealth brings. Let this be the last impression you leave on your subconscious before drifting into sleep. Doubt has no place in this process. The moment you begin to question when or how it will happen, you step out of alignment. There is no need to seek confirmation from the external world. The only confirmation you need is the feeling within you. When you truly live as if it is done, you no longer need to ask if it is coming. You already know. And when you know, it must appear. This is not about tricking the universe. It is about understanding that creation is finished. Every possibility already exists. The moment you assume your desired state and live from it, you shift into the reality where it is already true. The world then rearranges itself to reflect your new assumption. So begin now. Live as though it is already done. Carry yourself with the confidence of one who has already received. Feel it, act upon it, and refuse to entertain any thought that contradicts it. The moment you fully align with your desired reality, it manifests effortlessly. The key to manifestation is not in struggle, force, or endless waiting. It is in the effortless alignment with the reality you wish to experience. Your assumption is law. What you deeply accept as true must reflect in your world. Time is an illusion, and the only moment that exists is now. When you relax and assume it is done, you collapse time and allow your desire to manifest instantly. The secret is in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and not in effort, but in deep inner knowing. Repetition rewires the mind, reinforcing the new reality until it becomes second nature. The subconscious responds to consistency, and what you persist in assuming becomes your truth. Doubt is the only barrier. When you let go of resistance and trust the process, your desires flow effortlessly into your life. You must live as if it is already done, aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your fulfilled state. The universe mirrors your state of being, and when you truly embody your desire, reality has no choice but to conform. Everything you seek is already yours. The moment you relax, trust, and expect, you remove all barriers. Assume, feel, and allow. It is already done. Thank you. You may think of your present circumstances and say, but I have nothing, yet I tell you that nothing is only a shadow, a passing illusion. Lack is never the truth of who you are. The truth is abundance. The truth is overflow. The truth is that every good thing you long for is already yours in the unseen realm, waiting only for your acceptance. Understand this. You do not wait for blessings. You awaken to them. You do not chase after abundance. You assume it. The one who knows the power within does not beg, nor doubt, nor strive endlessly. Instead, he or she steps into the quiet confidence of possession. Imagine now as if it were already so, that your needs are met, your table is full, your home is in peace, and your heart overflows. Let that feeling fill you completely, and as you carry that state into your days, you will discover that the invisible becomes visible, that the intangible takes form. Blessings do not trickle, they flood. They arrive so richly, so overwhelmingly, that the memory of hunger, emptiness, and struggle fades into nothing. You will look back at the days of lack and smile, because they will feel like a dream that never belonged to you. The great secret is this: life responds not to what you lack, but to what you assume. Assume abundance, and lack dissolves. Assume joy, and sorrow disappears. Assume blessing, and it must appear. Soon what is unseen will break through the veil of appearance, and when it does, you will find yourself saying, I have more than enough. I am more than supplied. My life is overflowing with blessings. And in that moment you will know the blessings are so big, you will forget you ever lacked. Lack is only an illusion of the mind. Abundance already exists in unseen form. What you call lack is not a permanent state, but simply the shadow of thought, a reflection of belief. The world you see outside is only a mirror of the consciousness you hold within. When you say you are lacking, you are not truly describing reality, but rather the state of your inner vision. For every desire, for every longing, there is already a corresponding reality in the unseen. It waits, not in some distant place, but here and now, vibrating in silence, ready to be clothed with form the moment you accept it as yours. The illusion of lack arises when the mind is fixed on appearances, on what the senses report. You may look into your bank account and see little. You may look at your life and find emptiness. You may look at your surroundings and think you are without. Yet what you see is never the full picture. The outer is only the echo of an inner state, and it changes the moment your inner state changes. What feels like lack is simply a delay between your assumption and its manifestation. It is the mist before the sun rises, not the truth of the day. Abundance is the eternal truth of life. Look at nature. The trees do not grow one leaf, they grow thousands. The sea does not hold one drop, it holds billions. The earth does not give one grain, it gives harvest upon harvest. Life itself reveals the secret. Abundance is the natural order. The mind, when conditioned by fear and limitation, cuts itself off from this eternal flow and imagines lack. But even when the mind resists, the unseen abundance remains, waiting for recognition. It is like a river, always flowing, whether you dip your hands into it or not. To step out of the illusion of lack, you must shift your focus inward and claim abundance as already yours. Do not ask when it will come, for time is only the servant of your state of being. Assume that it has already arrived. Feel the joy of already possessing it. Walk in the confidence of ownership. As you persist in this inner state, life bends itself to mirror what you carry within. The outer world cannot resist the conviction of inner knowing. You will discover that the more you affirm abundance, the more lack fades like a dream you no longer believe in. Gratitude becomes your constant companion, not because of what you wait to see, but because of what you already know to be true. You no longer measure by appearances, but by faith. You live from the unseen rather than waiting for the seen. And in this way, abundance moves swiftly, clothed in opportunities, provision, relationships, and circumstances that align with your assumption. When you realize lack is only an illusion, you free yourself from struggle. You no longer fight to get. You rest in knowing it is already done. And when the invisible abundance takes form, you will smile at how real the illusion of lack once felt, and yet how powerless it truly was. The secret is to live as though you already have what you desire. Life does not respond to your wishes alone. It responds to the state of being you embody. To live in longing is to remain in longing, but to live in possession is to call forth possession. The moment you begin to carry yourself as though your desire were already fulfilled, you align with the reality that contains it. This is not pretense, nor is it empty imagination. It is the law of consciousness. What you accept as true within will soon be echoed without. When you live as though you already have, you shift the vibration of your mind. You no longer send out the energy of lack or waiting, but of confidence and certainty. This is why people who seem effortless in life often attract so much. They are not striving, they are simply resting in the conviction that what they desire belongs to them. Their inner dialogue affirms it, their actions align with it, and their emotions reflect it. They have already received in spirit, and the physical world has no choice but to confirm it. Consider the difference between two people. One prays, pleads, and begs for change, but remains inwardly convinced of emptiness. The other closes their eyes and assumes with calm assurance that the change is already here. The first waits endlessly, bound to appearances. The second walks with the unseen, carrying the future as though it were the present. And soon, the present must match the conviction they hold. To live as though is to adopt the feeling of the wish fulfilled. If you desire wealth, you must feel and act as though you are already provided for. Not in reckless spending, but in the quiet confidence of sufficiency. If you desire love, you must embody the joy, warmth, and security of being loved now rather than waiting for someone to supply it. If you desire success, you must walk with the posture of one who already succeeds. Life mirrors not your empty yearning, but your assumed reality. This secret is often missed because people want to see before they believe. They want the evidence before the conviction. But the order is reversed. The conviction produces the evidence. To live as though is to move first in faith, trusting that the unseen is more real than the temporary appearance of lack. Just as a seed is buried in the soil long before the harvest appears, so your assumption is planted in consciousness long before the visible manifestation arises. You must learn to persist in the feeling of already having, even when appearances mock you. Your senses will argue, but you must silence them with the deeper knowing of your imagination. Each time you return to the state of possession, you water the seed of your desire. Each time you dwell in fulfillment, you hasten its arrival. The outer world bends itself to the persistence of inner assumption. And when your desire takes form, you will not be surprised, for you have already lived it. You will recognize it as something long familiar, a friend you have welcomed in thought and feeling. That is the power of living as though. It transforms unseen desire into seen reality. Gratitude in advance is the doorway to blessings beyond measure. Gratitude is not merely a reaction to what has happened, it is the active acknowledgement of what is already yours in the unseen. To thank in advance is to declare that you trust the invisible more than the visible, that you believe in the reality of your desire even before it arrives in form. It is an inner posture that shifts you from lack into possession, from waiting into receiving. And when you live in advance gratitude, you are telling life itself, I already have it, I already hold it, I already live it. And life responds by unfolding circumstances that match your certainty. Most people wait for blessings before they give thanks. They wait for evidence before they believe. But gratitude in advance is different. It is faith in action. It is thanking for the harvest while still holding the seed, knowing the crop is guaranteed by the law of life. It is standing in the rain of blessings before the clouds even form. Gratitude in advance turns the unseen into the inevitable, for nothing resists the one who already celebrates possession. Think of how gratitude feels. When you are thankful, you are not anxious. When you are grateful, you are not striving. Gratitude carries rest, peace, and joy within it. These states of being are magnets for abundance, for they align you with the frequency of fulfillment. The more you give thanks for what is unseen, the more real it becomes to your inner world. And as soon as it becomes real within, the outer world bends to reflect it. The outer world will become an escape and away from the inner world. To practice gratitude in advance is to see through the illusion of delay. You no longer measure by the ticking clock, by the numbers in your account, by the conditions of your surroundings. You measure by faith, by inner vision, by the knowing that what you have assumed is already yours. Each word of thanks waters the soil of your desire. Each moment of gratitude nurtures the seed until it bursts through into form. It is impossible to live in true gratitude and remain in lack. Lack feeds on complaint, on worry, on fear. Abundance feeds on thanks. The moment you say, thank you for what I already have, thank you for what is unfolding, thank you for the blessings unseen, you have shifted yourself into alignment with overflow. You no longer chase blessings, they chase you. You no longer wait for doors, they open before you. Gratitude is the key that unlocks every gate. Even in moments when nothing seems to be moving, gratitude in advance keeps you steady. It anchors you in assurance, reminding you that life cannot deny what is already claimed in faith. By thanking before receiving, you declare that receiving is certain. And soon life confirms your declaration. When your blessings arrive, you will realize they were drawn by your constant gratitude. They will come so abundantly, so richly, that you will see the truth. Gratitude in advance was never empty words. It was the force that brought the unseen into sight. This is why gratitude in advance is the doorway to blessings beyond measure. What you assume with conviction, life must mirror back to you. Assumption is not wishful thinking, it is the silent law by which the unseen becomes seen. Every state of being you carry within is impressed upon the fabric of reality, and reality, being obedient, reflects it back to you in form, in circumstance, in event. The world outside is nothing but a mirror of the world you hold within. When you assume lack with conviction, lack returns. When you assume abundance with conviction, abundance appears. Life does not argue with you, it only echoes your certainty. Conviction is the difference between idle thought and creative power. Many people have fleeting desires, vague wishes, or half-hearted dreams. But a desire mixed with doubt cannot take root. Conviction, however, is a state of inner certainty, a knowing so strong that it leaves no room for contradiction. When you carry conviction, the unseen becomes as real to you as the air you breathe. You rest in the assurance that it is already yours. And life, faithful to the seed you plant, must mirror it back. Think of a person who constantly assumes failure. Even before they begin a task, their mind is filled with images of defeat. They walk into opportunities expecting rejection. They live convinced that things will not work in their favor. And what do they encounter? Exactly what they assume. Not because the world is against them, but because their inner conviction wrote the script of their outer experience. Now think of another person who assumes success with quiet confidence. They walk into the same situations with the expectation of favor. They carry themselves with assurance, and doors open for them because life cannot resist reflecting the conviction they hold. The outer world is powerless against the inner conviction. This is why you cannot wait for appearances to change before you change within. You must assume first, and the world will follow. If you desire wealth, do not assume poverty until money comes. Assume wealth now. If you desire health, do not assume weakness until healing shows. Assume vitality now. If you desire love, do not assume loneliness until someone arrives. Assume companionship now. The mirror reflects only what you present to it. Conviction is built by persistence. Each time you return to the state of your desire fulfilled, you deepen the impression upon the subconscious. Each time you dwell in the assumption of possession, you water the seed of your reality. At first it may feel unnatural, as though you are pretending, but the more you persist, the more natural it becomes, until you can no longer distinguish between assumption and fact. And when the assumption feels natural, it hardens into reality. Life has no choice but to yield to your conviction, for it is the law of consciousness. The world is pliable, responsive, obedient to the images you impress upon it. Doubt creates delay, but conviction creates certainty. Therefore, assume boldly, assume consistently, assume with unwavering faith, and soon you will see that what you once carried only in thought is mirrored back in living form. This is the power of conviction. What you assume, life must reflect. When blessings arrive, they erase the memory of struggle. Life has a way of making past hardships seem distant, even unreal, the moment abundance steps into your experience. The struggles you once felt as heavy and permanent dissolve, as though they were never truly yours. This is the law of consciousness. The mind cannot hold both the weight of lack and the fullness of blessing at the same time. When your inner state aligns with the joy of having received, the outer world conforms, and the past appears only as a faint memory, a shadow you no longer identify with. Struggle exists only in the mind that believes it is separate from the flow of life. It is created by attention focused on absence rather than presence, on fear rather than trust. Yet when blessings arrive, whether they come as love, wealth, health, or opportunities, they carry with them a force of transformation. The mind, once preoccupied with hardship, is now captivated by fulfillment. Your senses, which once recorded scarcity, now record abundance. Your heart, which once ached for relief, now overflows with gratitude and ease. And in that transformation, the memory of struggle begins to fade. This is why it is so important to hold the vision of your desires fulfilled even when the present seems devoid of results. For when what you have imagined and assumed finally manifests, the intensity of the blessing is such that it overrides all recollection of pain, worry, and limitation. The mind is naturally drawn to what feels good, to what affirms life and possibility. The struggle becomes a story you once told yourself, a chapter that has ended, and no longer a reality you inhabit. Think of the times in your life when relief came unexpectedly. Perhaps you worried over finances, over relationships, or over your own capacity, and then suddenly circumstances shifted. You may have received help, experienced a breakthrough, or simply had the clarity to see another way. In that moment, the struggle did not disappear entirely, but its grip on your mind and heart loosened. You realized that what had once seemed unbearable was in fact temporary. The blessing did not only provide relief, it reframed your entire experience. You looked back and almost could not recall the weight of the worry you carried, because the present joy was far stronger than past fear. This principle applies to every area of life. When health is restored, vitality replaces the memory of illness. When financial abundance flows, anxiety over scarcity dissolves. When love arrives, loneliness becomes a distant memory. The blessings themselves are powerful enough to eclipse the past because they resonate at a frequency that is far higher than the frequency of struggle. Your consciousness cannot sustain both simultaneously. The greater force always dominates. Therefore, do not despair over current difficulties. They are temporary illusions, fleeting shadows on the path of your life. Keep your focus on the unseen reality of fulfillment. Maintain your inner state of expectation, gratitude, and assurance. When the blessings arrive, as they inevitably will, they will not only meet your desire, they will wipe away the memory of lack and struggle, leaving you free to live fully in abundance and joy. Your faith is the seed. Once planted, it grows into a harvest that overwhelms lack, Every blessing, every abundance, every joy you desire begins as a single seed in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Faith is that seed. It is the quiet knowing that what you seek is already present in the unseen, just as a tiny acorn holds within it the promise of a mighty oak. Your faith carries within it the inevitable reality of fulfillment. It is small, unseen, and often overlooked at first, yet it contains the full potential to transform your life. To plant faith is to assume the reality of your desire before it appears. It is to believe that the invisible is more real than the visible, that the source of all good is already moving on your behalf. Faith is not wishful thinking, nor is it hope that trembles and waits. True faith is alive. It is a living seed within your imagination and consciousness. It is nourished by your attention, by your persistence, by your feeling of certainty. Each thought, each word, each feeling of assurance waters this seed and prepares it for growth. When you plant this seed, you must give it space to grow. Do not doubt its power, because you cannot yet see the fruit. Do not measure it by appearances, for the outer world is slow to reflect the inner truth. The seed grows quietly, invisibly, beneath the surface, forming roots in your consciousness, strengthening with every act of assumption and feeling of possession. Just as a gardener trusts the unseen growth underground, you must trust that your faith is developing and taking form even before it becomes visible. As faith grows, it begins to shape your perception. The mind trained in faith sees opportunities where others see obstacles. It recognizes abundance where others see scarcity. It attracts circumstances, people, and experiences that mirror the inner reality of certainty. Slowly, your inner seed begins to bear fruit in the outer world. A small manifestation appears here, another there, until the harvest of blessings becomes undeniable. What once seemed impossible now flows naturally, effortlessly, abundantly. This harvest overwhelms lack because it is the natural consequence of a mind aligned with truth. Lack cannot coexist with the fullness of faith realized. Once the seed grows, the experience of deficiency fades, replaced by the undeniable evidence of provision, of love, of success, of joy. You will look back at the days of waiting and struggle and realize that they were only the soil in which your seed was planted. The harvest has arrived, and it is so abundant, so overflowing, that the memory of lack is all but erased. Faith is the invisible power that sets the law of creation in motion. Every act of belief, every feeling of certainty, every sustained imagination is a drop of water on the seed of your desire. Faith once planted cannot fail. It grows steadily, inevitably, until it produces a harvest that surpasses all expectation. The more you nurture it, the more unstoppable it becomes, until you find yourself living in a life so abundant that you can scarcely remember a time when you lacked anything. The secret, therefore, is to plant faith now, water it with assumption, and hold it with unwavering certainty. Trust the unseen, act from the inner reality, and your harvest will come in full measure, overwhelming every shadow of lack. Faith, once sown, produces a life of limitless blessings. As we reflect on these truths, remember this: the blessings that are coming to you are so vast, so overwhelming, that they will completely erase the memory of any lack you once knew. Every seed of faith you plant, every assumption you hold with conviction, every act of gratitude in advance is bringing you closer to a life of unimaginable abundance. The struggles you faced, the waiting you endured, the doubts you carried, they are all stepping stones, preparing you for the joy and fulfillment that is your birthright. Step into this knowing Live as though your desires are already fulfilled. Trust in the unseen. Carry gratitude as your constant companion. Assume the reality of your blessings and allow life to mirror that conviction back to you. In doing so, you will experience a life so full, so rich, and so abundant that looking back, you will barely remember ever feeling lack. Thank you for opening your mind and heart to these truths today. May you embrace the blessings that are already yours, and may your life overflow with the abundance you were always meant to receive.